So that's what's going to happen. I'm talking about peer support and suicide warning signs, okay? I'm going to move a little quickly because they asked me to make it 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Oh, 5 minutes. Oh, okay. We about to dash. So what will we cover? Next slide. So what is suicide? Some quick stats on suicide, risk factors, warning signs, what you can do, and then I guess we'll save the questions for later. So for anyone who's actually been to my presentations in other forums, I go throughout the community, churches, all kind of things. My sessions are interactive, so unfortunately today it can't be interactive because y'all supposed to help me give this presentation. So I'm just gonna talk and some of y'all probably gonna fall asleep. What is suicide? Suicide is death caused by injuring oneself, but with intent to die. So not like if you fall over some stairs and you kill yourself, that's not a suicide, that's an accidental death. So for suicide, there must be an intent to die, and you've done it to yourself. A suicide attempt is when someone harms themselves with an intent to end their life, but they do not die. So it was what we call interrupted. If someone actually saw you in the act or catches you unconscious on the floor. Suicide is connected to other forms of injury and violence too. Child abuse, someone had said bullying, being connected to family members and community support, and having easy access to healthcare can decrease suicidal thoughts and suicidal behaviors, okay? So let's look at some quick suicide statistics. So these are US statistics from the CDC. I forget what CDC stands for, but y'all should have heard of it. The Center for Disease Control. So in 2023, suicide was among the top 8 leading causes of death for people aged 10 to 64. You had an age 10 to 64. Because some people think that children don't have no problems. Well, after the Massey 700 children I just finished working with, it's a lot of concerns and issues they have. Suicide is the second leading cause of death for people aged 10 to 34. So that's what in medicine we call children and young people. The first, of course, being like violent crimes and car accidents. Suicide was responsible for 49,316 deaths in 2023. That's a lot. That's a lot. In 2022, an estimated 12.8 million adults seriously thought about suicide. 12.8 million. 3.7 million planned a suicide attempt, and 1.5 million attempted suicide. So this affects millions of people. Now, when we talk about risk factors in medicine, we like to be categorical because when you categorize things, you understand things a little better. So we have biological risk factors, psychological, and social. When we say biological, we're talking about, the body, which you can inherit from person's genetics. So having a mental illness. What's an example? Some people may have heard of schizophrenia. I would have loved to expand on that, but time. Depression, bipolar, addiction disorders, chronic illness, hypertension, diabetes, cancer, chronic pain. That's a big one. We actually do experience that a lot in Sandilands where patients have a lot of pain, and that can actually cause persons to want to commit suicide because it seems never ending. Family history. So someone in your family has attempted suicide. A friend may even have done it. Substance use. So a lot of studies show that the two leading illnesses that actually give you a high risk of suicide is depression and actually a substance use disorder. So alcoholism, addiction to marijuana, addiction to opioids. Then we look at some psychological risk factors. LGBTQ, that's lesbians, gay, bisexual, trans, queer. So a lot of persons in society actually fit into that demographic, but here in the Bahamas, that's kind of downplayed. Persons don't really say it out loud. These people feel separated from society, and they are higher risk at actually committing suicide. Child abuse. Child abuse comes in multiple forms: physical, sexual, emotional, spiritual. Poor coping skills. Stress is inevitable, meaning that you can't avoid it. What we teach at Sandilands is how to deal with stress. Okay? Some persons are, not that they're incapable, but they don't have the immediate capacity to process that stress. Personality types and disorders. Some persons are given to impulsive decisions. They don't think, they just act. They don't worry about the consequences. They don't think about, well, is there another way? I'm just doing this. Sexual abuse that we just talked about. I was actually on call the other night, and I got paged at 10:30 p.m. after a young girl, she was only 16, was admitted to the ward, and they told me that she had just she cut herself several times. And so I had to go and respond to that. When I saw her, this girl was quite unwell, tearful, she looked disturbed, she was talking to herself, saying that she was seeing things and hearing things, and I was like, if Bahamas could see this, because they'd be like, mental health isn't real, but I was like, if y'all could see what I'm seeing at 11 p.m. at night, because physicians have to be at the hospital 24 hours, y'all would say, oh, mental health ain't nothing to play with. Social, so financial issues, crisis, that comes in the form of natural disasters, hurricanes, earthquakes, tsunamis, a sense of isolation, a huge risk factors for the elderly. So we're not just discussing young persons. A lot of persons 65 and up, when they live alone, children living their own life, grandchildren living their own life, they feel alone, and that increases your risk of suicide as well. Bullying, I heard y'all talk about bullying a lot. That's a big one for child and adolescent. A lack of social support. In my practice, I find that biologically everything is tight, meaning that for medication, good, psychological, pretty good, all of that is good. But when the child returns to their social milieu or the social environment, everything falls apart. So in our research, we actually see the social environment is perhaps the highest predictor of an outcome, good or bad. Access to lethal means. When we say lethal means, is there a gun in the home? Are there knives besides the cooking knives? And domestic violence is a big one too. Now we're going to talk about some warning signs. So what are some warning signs you may see? Some people may be talking about it. Some people may be talking about wanting to die, or they're saying they're being burdens to others. And then feelings. Sometimes a person can feel empty or hopeless, trapped, having no reason to live, unbearable emotional or physical pain. So all of these are actually symptoms of depression. All of these, which is why we tend to screen and ask for them. There also can be changes in behavior. Ms. Moss, the psychologist who I used to work with a few months ago, had said some of these. So taking dangerous risks. I had a patient who started speeding up and down on motorcycles, not wearing a helmet, going at top speed down the road, pulling wheelies, and I was like, that's not him. So I was telling his family, that's suicidal behavior. Making a plan, researching ways to die. Recently, some AI companies, artificial intelligence, got in trouble because some AI was giving people ways to commit suicide. And so now the programmers now have to go back to AI and say, so if someone typed that in, you need to redirect them instead of giving them ways to actually execute. Writing a will. Increase in alcohol or increase in illicit drug use. Illicit drugs just means illegal drugs. So really, the legal drugs we have, this would have been a perfect time to ask the students. Anyway, alcohol, cigarettes, and then the illegal ones, marijuana, cocaine, displaying extreme mood swings. So at one point, another patient I had was known as a quiet, mousy child. Didn't say much, was pleasant with teachers. When she came to us, they said that she was shouting, she was screaming, she was taking off her clothes, and I was like, so that's a marked change in behavior. Something is happening. Eating or sleeping more or less. You notice that your child is always in bed. A lot of parents like to say this is a lazy little girl, but not stopping to think, well, what happened to you? What's going on? Is something off? So when we talk about what you can do, there are three ways we look at it in medicine. So it's at the national level, the community level, and the individual level. I'm not going to speak at the national level. That's something we have a discussion with policymakers. I think there are some policymakers here and stakeholders, but I want to talk about the community and individual level. So with the community level, you can create and foster a healthy environment and culture for mental wellness. A lot of persons would say, oh, mommy, I feel depressed. Go press them dishes. That's not healthy. That's you dismissing what the child communicated to you. The child actually telling you, I'm going through something. One of the consultants I work with said she was in the food store and she saw this father speaking to her child, and she was actually telling her father that she wasn't feeling good and she was having a bad time. The father just saw a random in the aisle and he said, you could believe this girl, what she got to stress about. She ain't got no bills, she ain't got no mortgage. I paying for all her, she going to private school. And so she actually turned away and started to cry, and he just continued having that conversation in front of her. Reduce substance use through community-based practice. engage community members in social activities. So I really like urban renewal. I like when the church has these youth events. I like when the police and defense force go into the schools and they do something. Sometimes people think that doesn't help, but if you reach even one person, you've done a lot. Teach parenting skills to improve family relationships. This one I consistently get routed out at Sandilands, because when we tell the patients, I always like to have social services with me, because we tell the parents, so you need parenting classes. And immediately they get angry. But it's not saying you're a bad parent, it's saying that your parent could use some support. That's what we're saying. But they immediately say, you're calling me a bad parent. And no, that's not the case. It might be the case, but I'm not gonna say that out loud. Train gatekeepers. Who are the gatekeepers? The gatekeepers are all of you. The main gatekeepers that we really try to get to, sorry teachers, police officers, defense officers, even clinicians. A lot of my colleagues who are not in mental health actually shy away from suicide. Studies show that a lot of doctors do not like to ask. And ironically, a lot of studies show that it's not the psychiatrist who is told that I want to kill myself. It's general practitioners and pediatricians. And they kind of freeze when they hear it. Then they quickly get on the phone and say, what am I supposed to do? So we need to train them as well. And respond to crisis. A few months ago, I can't remember exactly the place. It was somewhere downtown. An apartment complex got burnt down. Burnt to the ground. And they had asked Sandilands to talk to the persons. Normally, I don't do presentations when you give me only 2 days in advance, but I could hear the pain in the woman's voice who contacted me. And I really liked that because they responded 3 days after the apartment burned down. In 3 days, they got a mental health professional there. And the persons were very, very thankful for that because they were telling me they were having nightmares, they were having serious thoughts of harming themselves. So I could see, yeah, I needed to respond. They immediately responded to that crisis, and I congratulated the Neighborhood Watch for doing that. I congratulated them for that. What can you do on the individual level? Seek help. There's nothing wrong with seeking help. A lot of people think you're weak when you seek help. Well, I've been asking for help my whole life, and I was a doctor, so I don't know. Just saying. Offer support. Sometimes you don't know what to say. Sometimes all you need to do is sit and listen to that person. As the Channel Adolescent team said, when you're out of your depth, call up. See if a priest can help you. See if the counselor can help. And counselors, teachers, priests, yes, including religious leaders, when you are out of your depth, call up. Call up to Sandilands, call up to physician. Intervene after a suicide attempt. So just as the young lady had said earlier, she tried to commit suicide, and when she gone back home, it was business as usual. That don't help nobody. You need to respond to that. You need to do something about that. Reduce access to dangerous items. So that's something that we do a lot of, or try to do a lot of at Sandilands too. After we see the child, evaluate and treat, we actually contact the schools and the homes and say, so what you need to do for her, you need to remove any Panadol, remove any prescriptions, they need to be locked away. You need to make sure, because males do it too, he doesn't need to have any access to blades. If he cooking, under direct supervision. You don't step out of that kitchen because that's more than enough time for him to do something. Participate in community activities, we discussed that. Exercise, I'm a big proponent of that. Exercise helps with stress, mental health issues, and adhering to medication, treatments, and follow-ups. A lot of persons with diabetes, they actually strongly contemplate suicide. You know what it is to take pills or stick yourself in the tummy every day? It can become exhausting, it can become frustrating. Or persons with HIV who have to take all these pills every single day. Stick to the medication, stick to the treatments, and follow up with your physician. Every time I see a patient in my clinic, any problems with the medication? No. Well, how come this still have 3 and you're supposed to have 0? So let's talk about it. That's my references. I would add a question, a Q&A. I'm so sorry that I sped it up, but time is of the essence, and I have colleagues who need to talk.
Blessings and peace to you on behalf of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, my esteemed Minister, the Honorable Michael Darvall. Today, we are going to tell you a story about the path to hope. So listen to the story. In every story, there's a piece for you, there's a piece for you, there's a piece for him, there's a piece for me, and so just listen for your piece. Today in school, I sat on the bench waiting for Janice. When I saw her in class today, she didn't really look too well. You know, there was a lot of talk going around school, and I didn't really understand what it was all about. But when the bell rang at 3 o'clock, she said, "Meet me out by Montague Beach." I said, "Fine." So I'm sitting there watching her walk towards me, and look like she vaping. She don't really vape. Anyway, this must be gonna be a juicy little story, and I can be able to talk it to everyone when we get to school tomorrow. Janice sits on the bench on the side of me, and she says, "I want to kill myself." And I say, "God, why me? You can't be serious. Why me?" And so as Janice talks, I start to get a better understanding of what's going on in her life. And I realize the first step on the path of hope is to listen. So I block out all that's going on in my life just to give her attention. And so Janice says to me, "I did some things with my boyfriend in the bathroom at school. He made a video and he started to share it. And so now everybody knows." And so Janice is saying, "My parents can't know. My church can't know. How? Oh." And so I continue to listen. And one of the things that I don't do is, I do not say to her, "Janice, if you kill yourself, you're going to hell." I can't say that. So I try to imagine, what would it feel like if it was me? And so for 1 minute, I stepped into Janice's shoes. What would it feel like if the entire school knows something negative about me? What would it feel like for my parents, my church, my community, the prefect board? Are they going to stop me from being a prefect once they find out? And so for me, just like Janet, it feels as if the world is crashing down around me. And so I continue to listen. In listening, I'm not being judgmental. In listening, I just want to get an idea of how can I help her. I really thought I was coming to get a juicy story that I could talk, but I realized another key factor. I have to keep this a secret because my job is not to hurt her. My job is just to listen. So you know what I did? I said, "God, I only in grade 11. This is a lot." And so the first thing I did as I listened to her is I turned that over to God for him to give me insight so that I know what to say, how to say it, and how to guide her accordingly. And so step number 1, of course, is for you young people to always remember to listen intently. To listen, not making a judgmental decision, but to listen to gain understanding. And so I listened. And it was my hope to create a safe space for her. And so even though things were going on around us as we sat out to Montague, I made sure to look her directly in the eye. I made sure to turn my body towards her so that she knows that she has my full attention. So I listened. The second thing that I know along this process is for me to help her connect. Because I don't have the skills in this area, but I know that there are people in our country that could assist her. So automatically my mind goes to the police. Automatically my mind goes to the guidance counselor. I even think about pastors and priests that I could tell her she needs to connect to. But I also know that the Bahamas government has made so many other opportunities available. And so I think I need to tell her about the emergency numbers. 911. But guess what? The government of the Bahamas cares so much about the children in our country that maybe about 5 years ago, us as children, we have our own hotline number, and that's 711. And so I continue to listen. Manny, remember teacher tell us some more numbers. Oh yeah, social services has 2 hotline numbers, and those numbers are 322-2763 and 422-2763. There's another number. So I thinking, she talking, but I thinking it's another number. And then the Bahamas Crisis Center. The Bahamas Crisis Center has a 24-hour crisis hotline number. So maybe, now might be a good time for me to give it to her, but I can tell her, write it down. So the Bahamas Crisis Center's numbers are 328-0922 or 322-4999. I can write down these numbers so I could give it to her before we leave. So I know she needs to connect to a professional. As she talks, though, is so much pain in what she's experienced. She talks about being lonely. She talks about feeling that there's no one she can turn to. I even really thought that she had a good family, so I try to understand why she's saying she don't want to talk to her mommy and daddy. And she says it's because we from a Christian home. How could I tell my parents I messed up so badly? And so as she continues to talk, I wonder, and I say to myself, how can I get her to trust somebody? And so that's one of the critical things for you as young people, as you encounter other young people going through so much. The Ministry of Health and Wellness, we conducted the Global School Health Survey. And that's the survey that you've been hearing a lot of the results for. But one of the most powerful analysis that came out of that survey for us is 58% of the school-age population indicated they have no one to talk to. How is that even possible? But for us as an adults, we can't see how that's possible. And someone in here asked a question about men and women and suicidal ideation. And the thing it is, if I have a problem, I could call Alexandra and say, Alex, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and Alex, da-da-da-da-da. Man, them ain't calling nobody. Because then one day boys know they have woman problems. So they don't open up. They don't share the way they should. And so when you look at suicidal behavior, understand one key thing. There are so many people who feel as if there's no one I can talk to. And so finally, one of the key things that you could do as a young person when someone you knows indicates that they wish to commit suicide is make sure you connect them to a trusted adult. Make sure you connect them to someone that can help. Make sure before you walk off that beach that that person is on a pathway to hope. And so your job is to connect. Finally, the last thing, in any crisis situation, for you as a young person is to make sure you stay in the circle. Make sure you call to check upon the person even after you know they're going to counseling. Make sure that you are a friend that kept their confidence. Make sure that person is well. One of the wonderful things about life is for us to always realize there will always be a time when you will stand in that same shoe. You may not contemplate suicide, but you may experience depression. And so the person that you help today may be the version of you help tomorrow. And so on behalf of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, we encourage all of you to walk a pathway of hope. Be that person that helps the person on the side of you, the person on the left of you, the person on the right of you have hope and realize that help and hope is always available. So we encourage you, number one, to listen. Listen empathetically. Listen not to carry gossip, but listen to help. Secondly, help the person connect with the necessary professionals that will be able to assist them both with mental health assistance, family assistance, and just crisis intervention. But thirdly, continue to encourage them as they walk the pathway to hope. On behalf of the ministry, once again, we thank you and look forward to every child succeeding, every child having someone that they can turn to. Make sure that you're the ray of light that provides a basilica of hope for someone who needs help. Thank you.
Amen. Amen. Such a powerful experience today, and it's so encouraging just to see so many mental health professionals and teachers and guidance counselors and police officers and youth workers and administration. Give yourselves a round of applause. And one of the things that Dr. Richards said, she's like, as you look at the audience, you see our young people. And she said something very powerful. She said, our future looks so bright. And I concur with her today. Young people, can you give yourselves a round of applause for being here today? And as I start off my time with you, I want to send strength to our youth leaders, our youth workers, our guidance counselors, our teachers, our nurses, those who work with our young people. I know that the job can be difficult, and sometimes you question, whether you're truly making impact. And so I send you strength today, and I encourage you to continue to work. because you may not see the impact that you're making now, but you're going to see it later. Your work is not wasted. And so I want to encourage you to keep going and to keep pushing, keep providing the emotional support to our children and adolescents. It is crucial for their overall well-being and development and for their future success. I want you to know, too, that during the developmental years, our young people experience many emotions and challenges and changes, and this sometimes affect their self-esteem, their mental health, and their relationships. And so it's going to be important for us, as my colleagues mentioned, for us to be able to provide safe spaces and to provide support for our young people. My colleague just said something so powerfully, and I just echo it, that it's important for our young people not to feel as though they are alone. And so they need to know that in a crisis, they can turn to someone. And I'm making this clarion call today for us to be that safe space, for us to be that someone that our young people can turn to in a crisis. And so it's going to be important for us to do that because our youth need us now more than ever. It's going to be important for us to step up to the plate and accept the responsibility of the mantle. It's not too hard for us. We are empowered to do the work. And I want to encourage you, like I said earlier, just to keep going. You know, the Bahamas Drug Secondary School Survey provides a nutshell. It gives us a glimpse of what it is that our young people is going through. And I encourage all adults, youth leaders, and pastors in this room, when you go home tonight, to go and look for that survey and pull it down. Because I know that we tend to hear the accounts of what's happening, but this report provides a scientific look into what is happening with our young people. And I'm just going to pull some of the stats so that you can have an idea of the state of affairs as it relates to mental health in our young people. And so one of the things that stood out to me, and that was that 26% of males and 17% of females reported being seriously attacked throughout their lifetime. 15% of the sample of the participants reported being bullied at school. Another 43% reported experiencing emotional and verbal abuse. 21% reported experiencing physical abuse, and another 9% sexual abuse. Another thing that was alarming, and that's why I'm so glad that so many of our youth leaders are here, because you are surrogate parents. I want you to know that. Because one of the things that the study said was that 47% of the participants, and these are students between 8th and 12th grade, reported that their guardians and their parents do not listen to them. Another 46% reported that their guardians and their parents never gave them praise, ever. Another 22% indicated that they wanted to take their lives. And so if the parents are not doing it in the homes, providing the emotional support, that is where we come in. And that is why our work is so important, and that is why our work is so needed. And that is why I want to encourage you not to give up, to dig into the why. Why is it that you want to serve this population? And mostly it's because you want to save our young people. So tap into that when you feel discouraged or when you feel hopeless or when you feel lost. In my role as a child forensic expert, I had the amazing opportunity to work with our most troubled youth. And a lot of times, like an iceberg, we see the tips of the iceberg, the behaviors. And we label it rude, stinking behavior. I don't want to deal with those children. But I want to bring your attention to something, that the behavior that you see is powered by emotions that run deep beneath. Because I want you to be supportive of all of our children. I don't want behavior to be a criteria as to whether you support a child or not. And so I did a study And I work with girls who were kicked out of the traditional school and placed in an alternative school because of their behavior. And a lot of people focus on behavior, but I want to tell you what was powering beneath. And that was 50% of those girls that displayed those behaviors witnessed family and community violence. Another 58% experienced abuse across their lifetime. Another 94% struggle with depression, and another 59% struggle with anxiety. And so my work did not stop there. I work with our juvenile population, the girls and boys school, and I was fortunate to do research, substance use, psychiatric symptomatology, and recidivism among youth and juvenile institutional settings. And of course, we can label them, right? But what we don't know is that 58% of those children experience abuse in their lifetime. Another 59% experience depression. Another 55% experience anxiety. So I wanted to share those statistics so that you can have an appreciation and you don't sideline children because of their behavior, and you don't label their behavior, because all children need our support. And we have to be the ones to step up. And I think your presence here today says that you are committed. And so, how do we reach them? I want to teach you a very simple technique. It is a mental health first aid technique used in crisis settings, but I want to lift it so that we can have a tool that we can use today, and it's called Look, Listen, and Link. And so if you are a youth leader, a counselor, youth worker, this is a technique that you can use to help you to streamline your process from hearing a child in distress and getting them help and support. And so mental health first aid is about having a listening ear, having a compassionate heart, and providing a place where our young people feel seen, they feel heard, they feel valued. And I cannot say this enough. I am so encouraged by your presence here, because it means that you are committed to do that and to be that person. And so look, what are you looking for? You're looking for changes in the personality, in their presence, in their appearance, in their work, in their commitment, in their body language. 80% of communication is body language, 20% is words. So you want to be looking. The young people that you have responsibility over, you want to be looking to see the changes so that you can provide them with support. You also want to be listening intently. You want to listen with compassion and empathy. Listen not to speak, but to hear. Engage active listening. That is, when you're with you, do not be on your phone. Do not be distracted. As my colleague said, give them your undivided attention. And what are you listening for? You're listening to hear signs of distress. And these are some of the things you need to be listening for, because they will indicate that there's something going on, something deeper. You want to be listening about if they talk about sleep, sleeping too little, sleeping too much. You want to be listening about eating, whether they talk about eating too little and eating too much. You want to listen if they're talking about sadness or worry and fear or anger. You want to listen and hear if you want to listen to if they talk about having crying spells or crying themselves to sleep. You want to listen for feelings of hopelessness and helplessness. You want to listen in case they say that they feel stuck. You want to listen and hear anything that they talk about their family, the change in family dynamics. Trouble thinking and concentrating and making decisions, that is a key symptom. You want to listen out for that. You want to listen when they talk about not feeling themselves. Do not take that lightly. That is something that you need to act on. If they talk about shortness of breath and racing thoughts or not feeling good, you want to listen for thoughts of self-harm or any perceptual disturbance. And then you want to link. You don't want to just see it or just listen. You want to be able to provide support. I believe that every agency should have a referral form. I think that having a referral form says that you're ready, because mental health crisis can happen at any time, particularly if you're working and serving youth. And so you want to be that connector. So, my sister was just in the spirit. You want to be a connector. You want to be able to connect that young person to support. And I'm going to give you some additional numbers. So I know you got a number for the Crisis Center, Community Counseling and Assessment Center, 323-3293, or 5 or 6 or 0. The Bahamas Institute of Child and Adolescent Mental Health is another powerful resource. 356-0039, Seahorse Institute, another powerful resource, 676-6780. Family Medicine have clinicians and psychiatrists on staff, 702-9310. In the Bahamas, Psychological Services have a dedicated child and adolescent and parent line, 819-7652. And so we must be our brother's keeper. And we all have a part to play in promoting mental health first aid. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Ah, Lord, y'all sound weak. Good afternoon, everyone. I got one more task for y'all. So all our question and answers will be at the end of session 5, okay? Yes. So, my last task for y'all, look at the person next to you. Say, neighbor. Oh, good neighbor. Bear with them. They almost there. So thank you. Thank you to our lovely panelists. Give them a round of applause. We will move quickly. As Dr. Curry said, we will run into session number 4. So we kindly invite Dr. Davinia Knowles Robinson and Ms. Sherelle Duncombe to come to the stage. And they will be talking on youth speak out and engagement. So give them a round of applause.
Good morning. Or good afternoon. So what y'all ain't doing here is not give me the energy, because if we was doing TikToks or scrolling on YouTube, y'all would have been dead high. So good afternoon, everybody. Say hi, Roxy. Say hi, Roxy. Clock it. Very nice. Very nice. I'm happy to see that y'all are still present and here with me. All of the young people in the room, I want y'all to stand up for me.
That should be
everybody.
everybody.
Y'all so young at heart. I love how y'all young at heart. All of the school children in the room, I want y'all to stand with me. Let me be specific. Stretch your hands to the ceiling. I see some school children over here who ain't standing yet. I know one thing for sure, 2 things for certain y'all could understand. I need y'all to stand with me. Hands stretched to the ceiling. Shake it. Y'all gonna wake up in there today. Because if y'all think I'm playing with y'all tell a lie. Shake it. I want y'all to let out a little, make some noise for me. Pretend like something might just happen in school and make some noise for me. Who was that? Yes, ma'am. Make some more noise for me. Make some noise. You hear y'all voices? That's how much y'all voices matter. Now I want y'all to stretch your hands for me one more time. Say, I deserve to be heard. Y'all don't sound like y'all deserve to be heard. I deserve to be heard. I am enough. I am enough. I am loved. Now this is what I want y'all to do for me. Now this isn't to single anybody out, but to show you that in a room full of your peers, you are not alone. So I want you to remain standing for me. If there was ever a morning where getting out of bed felt so hard because life was so heavy, if you ever felt like that, I want you to remain standing for me. I want you to remain standing or stand back up if you have ever felt that nobody understands what you're going through. I want you to remain standing or stand back up if you have ever had to go through the full day smiling while you fighting back feelings of sadness and despair on the inside. I want you to remain standing or stand back up if you have ever felt like the world might be a better place or life might just be a little bit easier if I wasn't in it. I want you to remain standing or stand back up. Listen to me carefully. If you've ever wanted someone to just check on you without you having to ask. All of y'all who working in new places, I want y'all to look around the room. See the amount of young people standing up in here right now. Look around the room and see the amount of young people who just want someone to check on them. This segment is not about us. Y'all were quoted statistics. Y'all were given awesome information. But we can't fix it if we can't hear from you. This segment is all about you. Young people in the room, give yourselves a round of applause because you survived and you made it to today, babe. Now y'all can have a seat. Thank you. I want to introduce my co-panelists. Well, this ain't even really a panel.
No, we're not doing a panel.
We ain't even doing a panel. This is a
light
talk.
work.
This is Dr. Davinia Knowles Robinson, one of the leading experts in this area. And when we tag teamed on this, we said we can't do no panels. She said, Roxy, we got to talk to them. Because the only way for us to know how to represent your voices in the change and in the programs is to hear your voices. Y'all can do that for us? Y'all can talk to us? Man, I love you, babe. Anyone tell you they love you today? I love you, baby. Now listen to me carefully. Here's some rules of engagement. None of the adults in this room matter. Whatever you need to say, you come to that mic and you say it. Second, this is a safe space. I don't care how much of your teachers in here. This is a safe space. Nothing you say in this room will be used against you when you leave it. Y'all let me? Say, we hear you, Roxy. I got your back. Y'all hear me? I put my Crocs in sports mode behind my babies. I might as well let you know. This is a safe space, but we got to hear from you. You got to be brave enough, and it doesn't mean you're not struggling. What it means is, even though you might be scared, you do it anyway. We can't fix the country if we don't hear from the people who are the next leaders and generations in this country, right? We can agree? All right, I'm going to turn it over to my good friend now, and we're going to get the ball rolling.
Like Roxy said, we're on the same page with a lot of what we feel, right? Before we even made a plan on how we're going to address the panel, we both looked at each other and said a lot of this forum was talking about you guys and not really talking to you guys and hearing exactly what you guys are going through. And so like So of course, it wouldn't be a church event without telling somebody to move. So if you're driving a Honda Accord license plate number AC2098, your mother is outside waiting for you. No, so AC2098, can you please move your car?
They call the tow truck already. Let me put it in perspective for you.
So, Roxy talked about TikTok, and I'm sure 95% of you are on TikTok. So I'm going to do something very similar. There's a put a finger down challenge, right? So I want you to put your fingers up. And this could go for you or if there's somebody that you do know, right? Put a finger down if you previously attempted suicide. Put a finger down if you've had a relationship problem in the last 2 weeks. Put a finger down if you have access to harmful means. And so that means a gun, a knife, some pills. Put a finger down if you know someone that has ended their life through suicide, a friend, a family member, someone on Instagram that you felt that you were close to. Put a finger down if you had a recent family member die, just in general. Put a finger down if you yourself is suffering with a mental disorder, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, depression, anxiety. Put a finger down if you have been bullied by the internet, by somebody in your class, by your mommy, by your daddy. Put a finger down if you know someone that has a disability or you yourself has a disability. So if you have a medical illness, like hypertension, diabetes, asthma, if you have a broken arm or something of that nature. And put a finger down if you vape, use alcohol, cigarettes, marijuana, use any substances.
This is a safe space. Y'all don't choose to look around at the students now. Keep looking forward.
Oh yeah, y'all don't look. We listen and we don't. Amen.
Thank you.
We use them old time sayings, but I know how to reach out, right? So that means you should have several fingers down, or you know someone that might have several fingers down. But I'm going to give you some redemption, and this is called your prevention and your help. So keep your fingers up. Put a finger back up if you have a peer that you feel like you can talk to. Put a finger back up if you feel like you have a safe space, be it at home, at church, not in the club, but somewhere you feel like you could go to and talk to somebody. Put a finger up if you know an adult that you can have a decent conversation with. Put a finger back up if you feel like you have enough self-awareness, if you know that you are struggling and you know that it is time to get help. Put a finger back up if you feel like you have good problem-solving skills. Put a finger up if you feel like you have something to live for, your family, church, religion, etc. Hopefully, if you put your fingers down, you have enough fingers back up to get you to 10. But there are some of you that probably don't. And so this is why this safe space is important, because you can answer any question. We can try to answer any question that you may have. You can get your story out, and you can get the help that you need. Because I'm sure that you guys are sitting in here very heavy, right? There are some of you that go to school, you're putting your head on the table and the teacher is rowing you guys to tell y'all get up. What you tired for? You have nothing to be sleepy about, but you're going through depression. Someone's telling you why you ain't eating. You're looking skinny. You look maga, you're sick. Instead of asking you, do you have enough financial means to get lunch, to get help? You're wearing a jacket in the heart of the summer because you're trying to cover up your arms, because you're cutting, or your legs, and you're wearing track suits around the house. We see, we hear, and we are here for you. So this is your safe space. We listen in, and we're not judging. And we're in the club. We all fam. So come to the mic, and let's try to get through to some of these questions that you have burning in your hearts.
Now, I was watching a lot of y'all hands and y'all fingers, and I gotta say this. Many of you didn't put your finger back up when you said you don't have a space you could talk to. Let me tell y'all this now, 801-1944. I'd rather sit up and listen to you before I have to read about you on Eyewitness News. 801-1944. Now if you call and someone in it, that might be my daughter, she might be watching YouTube. Don't feel no weight, just dial back immediately. She'll understand it's important. All right, 801-1944.
Don't prank call her either. This
Please
is
don't
the
do
serious
that.
matters, right?
Yeah.
We are here to listen to you. There were numbers given, and we know that one life is too much. The statistics of 1 in 5, we know that there's a lot more than that. A lot of y'all are in here, are clearly the brightest of your classmates, and that's why you were chosen. But we know that you are struggling as well. It doesn't have to do with your ethnic background. It doesn't have to do how you grew up. We know that stress is real. You guys are going through stuff, and we want to hear from you guys. So let us know how we can help you.
So I have a definitive question. I have a question I want to pitch out. What is it that we can do as adults? No, wrong question. Here's the question. What is it that we as adults don't understand about what it is y'all going through right now? I hear all the murmuring, so I know. Come to the mic. I see my two hands at the back.
We have the mics here in the middle.
Come to the mic.
Or do you need us to come to you? Don't be shy.
Can I get someone from SRC's team to maybe carry the mics around as they raise hands up to be faster?
Yay, give her a round of applause for having.
Yeah, baby. Give us your name, the school you're representing, and then answer the question.
Hi, my name is Asia Charles, and I'm representing CC Sweden. And my answer is, I want parents to understand that, like, yes, they want us to get good grades, right? But sometimes it's really hard to understand subjects, and sometimes you just can't really do what they want you to do. Because parents send you to school and they expect you to get good grades in math, in English, and you don't really understand those subjects. So I want parents to understand that they can't keep on like forcing us to get these good grades when we can't do it.
So translation for the parents, here's what's happening. You have to manage your expectations. Every child in the scholastic space does not present the same. Threatening a child with physical harm or the mental anxiety that y'all put on them for grades is not going to make them get better grades. That is tried, tested, and proven. We know that. So what needs to happen is we need to be able to facilitate them through giving them the additional help and support. And then also, let me be real with y'all. All y'all children ain't gonna be no doctor and lawyer, okay? Take it out your head. Some of the baddest nail techs, hairstylists, barbers, plumbers, electricians, the future on the Royal Bahamas Police Force, Defense Force, prison officers, EMT, SRC, nurses. That's who in the building right now. It's not all gonna be the same academic path that you expect of them. Y'all have to have hard conversations with your children and manage your expectations. Because baby, let me tell you. Sure, I can tell you a lot. We in the house of the Lord. I can tell you a lot. However, I think it goes with managing the expectations. But how can parents have these difficult conversations?
So I think it is about knowing your child, and I think you started to allude to that. At the end of the day, not every child is going to be the A-B student. Not every child is going to be the C student. And some students don't even like school. So maybe finding those vocational programs that those children need. Because look at Roxy, big TV personality. She's here, she's doing her thing, she's in a space that she likes. So knowing what your child is capable of, but at the same time, recognizing that if your child was an A-B student and they dropped to a C/D, maybe having that conversation as to why they were dropping. Maybe trying to understand, are they going through a depressive episode? Are they going through a stressful event? What exactly is going on in their life that is causing their grades to slip? Not resulting in the physical violence and the abuse that comes along with, well, you didn't get 4 points this year, and having a row and a conversation. And I understand that us as parents, we get very inundated in our own lives and we're stressed, but don't take your stress out on your kids either. They need that listening ear. And if you feel like your child is dropping, then get them a tutor. And maybe you don't have the financial means to do that, but I'm pretty sure there are teachers in here that spend some time after school that can assist. So there are means around us, and trying to figure out and navigate those spaces is very important. I see you here. You can stand. Tell us where you're from.
Give us your name and your school and then answer the question.
My name is Cleton Bean, and I attend RM Bailey. I think that something I would like for parents to understand is that the more you force a child to do something, the more they will turn away from that thing. Like, if you force me to go to church, the more I'm going to feel as though that's not my choice, that's something you force me to do. Or the more you force me to hang around somebody, the more I'm going to feel some way about that person, you know?
I sigh.
You breathed out so hard just now.
I get the concern from you. Being forced into doing something feels like it is a task. However, and you might not like me for my answer here, because I'm not going to be a little friend all the time, right? So it's just to give some advice and clarity. Seeing that we are in church, I will use a biblical reference. Train up a child in the way that they should go, so when they are old, they will not depart from it. So I say that with understanding that, yes, you want to have your own rules and do what you want to do, but there has to be some level of guidance and understanding on how you're going to develop into a good citizen of society, because at the same time, if you don't have that guidance, then what are you going to look forward to? You're going to look at the gangs, the friends, the people that you don't have any morals or things that could guide you into being a better adult. But at the same time, the parent can have that conversation. So it is all about opening that safe space in the home as to why you don't like the church environment, as to why you have this disconnect with your friend or whomever it is that you feel the pressure to not be like or around, and having that conversation with your parent, and hopefully through the conversation you get some understanding as to why they may be trying to put you in that direction. Because I think as a society we are too moving away from, the church and going to brunches instead. So I mean, we still have that element of trying to bridge that gap as well.
Hello? Hi. I can't see you. Where you is?
She's right here. She's a bit shy.
That's
But you
fine.
can sit. It's okay.
My name is Shakwan Yardley. I come from Orem. My name is Shakwan Yardley, and I come from Orem. And one thing I want parents to understand is they think just because we're young, we don't go through stuff and we don't
Woo.
have stress.
Everybody heard her? Everybody heard her? Gone are the days when as parents, y'all could use the line, go to press them dishes.
Right.
We can't do that no more. The problem is a lot of us grew up in a culture where many of the conversations that ought to have happened in the home were so taboo, we weren't having them. I learned about my period when I was growing. You understand? I never had no one sit me down and tell me what's gonna happen when you get a period. And it's no slight to them. And students, let me say this to you. Give your parents a little grace. Parenting doesn't come with a manual. And many of us are still trying to figure it out. Many of us are still trying to unlearn and relearn behaviors. Many of us are mimicking our parents' parenting style under the guise of, I turned out okay. Child, plenty of us need to be in therapy. Let me let you know that now. Plenty of your parents need therapy. I in therapy so I can be a better parent for my daughter. Ain't no harm, no, I understand. We get it. However, isolation is not the answer. Education is the answer. Your children are already, this generation is the most exposed to information generation on the planet. And everything is at their fingertips. But don't demonize it. Use it as a teaching tool. They can see it anyway. I might as well brief you. Because when you take her phone, her friend phone to school, what I'm saying is use the tools that they already have access to and inform them. So now, when they come to you about their feelings, y'all can have conversations. Safe spaces to communicate do not happen overnight. Parents, we have a learning curve. Because a lot of us, we busy. Some of us working 2 jobs. Some of us tired. I'm tired. And some days my daughter only will show me one little cat video. Miss, if you don't have around me with this phone, I may be sick of y'all too. I can be for real. Children annoying when y'all get ready. Y'all know I lying. So as parents, we need that grace as well. And in that grace, y'all have to understand that having safe conversations and open communication, you ain't born with that. Those are tools and things you have to learn and be intentional about. As a parent, you have to say to yourself, whoa, hold that row back. As much as I would run and jump kick in the back, hold on, something bigger might be happening here. And a lot of times, it takes restraint on our part. Because we are a very reactive society. You all know that. First, you're driving traffic and hit one pothole and see the first thing fly out your mouth. We are a very reactive society. But when it comes to parenting and understanding the young people, we cannot be reactive. We have to be proactive. Their life literally depends on it. It depends on the safe spaces we create. These children go through plenty. My daughter is currently 9 years old. She just turned 9 in July. I'll tell you all a quick story. From my daughter was 2, she's had the ability to effectively communicate. I've always told this mantra to her when she won't cry for something and throw a temper tantrum. I always say to her, you need to manage your emotions because I can't help you if I don't understand what's wrong. Calmly. Cry, carry on. I've never hit my child at 9. I never beat. I don't beat. Never. I can't say from I know my child, but y'all know what I'm trying to say. Never had to. Because I've always said, manage your emotions. I can't help you if I don't know what's wrong. Last night, PTA meeting. Now, this is the first time that I have been present while my daughter attended a regular school. She was homeschooled up to the 3rd grade. My life fell apart last year. I had to send her to my dad in Grand Bahama for a year. She started at Hugh Campbell's, and that was her first time in a regular, traditional school system. This year is my first time being hands-on in parenting with her. Went to my first PTA meeting last night. Got in the car, got home, made some oats. The oats was bomb. I ain't gonna lie. The oats was good. Thanks. Just like, boy, the oats was good. So we're laying down, getting ready to wind down, and my daughter turns to me. She said, how was the PTA meeting, Mommy? I said, what you mean I was at PTA meeting? You was there? What you want me to say for that? No. I know this is your first PTA meeting. How was it for you mentally? In that moment, I said, girl, you're doing a good job. But you gotta give your kids the room to experience talking without the fear of judgment and irrational consequences. I didn't say no consequences. I said irrational consequences. What type of tools should parents be able to pull out of their toolbox to begin opening safe spaces for their kids?
So that's a very loaded question, right? But that is recognizing, like you had mentioned earlier, that I don't have all of the tools in the toolbox first, right? I have trauma, I have things internally that I have to deal with. And I know the question was specific towards parents, but this goes for teachers, the police officers in the room, the guidance counselors, and all of those adults that deal with children on a day-to-day basis. So before you bring your stress to work, check your own biases first, right? Understand that, yes, you have stress, but these children come into school with stress too. So before you yank that little boy by the backpack and tell him go sit down because he's causing a ruckus, maybe having a conversation with that individual first, right? Understand that they are going through stress. Like I said, if you notice the child with the head on the table, before allowing them and telling them to go to the dean's office, try to figure out exactly what is going on. Before allowing, take a deep breath and get to the root of the matter.
Where we at the front? We had some questions at the front. Hands? Okay, I'm gonna go here and then I'm gonna come there, okay?
Alrighty. Good evening, everyone. My name is D'Angelo Ferguson. I am from L.W. Young. Home of the Golden Eagles, of course. So one thing that I think parents, and not only parents, adults in general should understand is that the corporal punishment, you are hurting the children by beating them. You're getting your belt, you're beating them because they didn't do chores, they didn't get good grades, they didn't complete their homework. But you know that you are hurting them. And so back to suicide, that causes thoughts in them. That teaches them that, hey, if they don't do this, if they don't do this, they're gonna get beat, or they're gonna get row, or they're gonna get hit. But it's not what is supposed to be done. You're supposed to understand your children. You're supposed to say, hey, okay, they didn't do this. I'm going to look at their perspective. I'm gonna help them. I'm not gonna get my belt and beat them. I'm gonna help them. But that is something that I think that parents should understand, adults in general should understand, just because that doesn't help the children.
What y'all gonna do is y'all gonna give it up for my boy in the building right now.
Okay.
That was a clear, concise, and well thought out argument.
I love when we have young men speaking so eloquently, not afraid to get on a mic, not afraid to stand up and share their opinions, because that means all hope is not lost with. So that is a very good point. And seeing that we're bringing our children in it, I rarely beat. I can't say that I don't, but I do. But I have a conversation with my son first. So before I do any type of punishment, whether it be a timeout, and my child is 6, we have a conversation. He knows what he did wrong, why he did that, and I get to understand, well, what his feelings were about the situation. Similar to Roxy's child, my child self-soothes. He'll go inside the corner in the bathroom. He'll understand, I'm upset. He'll come back out, Mommy, I'm upset, and this is what made me feel that way. But that only became because we had that conversation. He knows that this is a safe space. We are able to have the conversation, and I understand why he feels the way that he feels. And so having those conversations before you take the belt out and lick the child down and use your aggression, like he said, that isn't going to work for everybody. And in some cases, that makes the situation worse. I know we are of the Bible taught in faith, spare the rod. But at the end of the day, that is not going to work for every child. So understanding the children, and he is voiced very articulately that is not working anymore, and we need to try to find another means. So I hope you all are listening actively.
That was an awesome, awesome question. Now, I would have mentioned earlier that I don't, and my boy, I don't do corporal punishment. I'm going to use his words. But that was my decision. And that was because I was a A student, head girl, student council president, but I spoke this life. I sent it. And beating never worked for me, because what the Bible say, beating might endure for the night, but joy come in the morning. I said, or something like that. Beating never worked for me. The only thing beating ever do for me was tell me, that way ain't gonna work.
Learn another way.
I just being real. I can be real, say, yeah, Roxy. That's all I'm saying. But you know, that is a cultural thing that won't stop overnight. So it's twofold. It's up to you as the next generation, because you're not only the next generation of leaders, you're the next generation of parents. You have the opportunity now to parent differently. You also have the opportunity, if speaking to your parents is something safe to do, because some of y'all have parents, but y'all gotta find something safe to do. Y'all can't talk to them like that. But if you have a relationship where you can have a conversation with your parents and say, hey, listen, I know that we've been at odds lately. I know that from time to time this is happening. But do you think we can have a conversation before we jump straight into beating? Because I have some things that I'd like to say, and I do want to listen. But that's twofold. You've got to actually show changed behavior. You can't ask for the parents to change the way they parenting, and you won't change it the way you children in. You
can't be a body.
Right? It's a teamwork. It's a teamwork. And I feel like there's also the branch of this that comes in from advocacy and policy change within government spaces. So because we're on this and you brought such an amazing topic to life, I want to invite our youth ambassadors up to have a conversation with you, give them a few minutes to talk to you about how their role is integrated. I can get your question right next. I promise you, with your pretty yellow shirt. Sit right there so I don't forget you. That's fair? And you. I forget you. Come on, man. I see you, boo.
Well.
I see you. And you too. I see you. Come.
Hi. You have 3 questions in the back here as well.
Okay. Yes, Mom.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, ladies, so much for that wonderful presentation. It's a very tough act to follow, but hello, I am Madison Hepburn. I am a high school youth ambassador and a youth parliamentarian for the Golden Isles constituency. And this is my fellow ambassador. Introduce yourself.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, a little bit more energy. I'm talking to young people. Good afternoon, everyone. Oh, thank you so much. So my name is LaShante Sampson. I am also a National Youth Ambassador with the specific portfolio of the Commonwealth, and I am also a National Youth Senator. So what that means is that we represent you guys in policy-making spaces locally and internationally. And so today we want to talk to you a little bit about, or we want to hear from you a little bit about what it is that we can do to be better advocates for you. So when I'm going to a heads of government meeting or something like that, I need to be able to say what the young people of the Bahamas want to say. So go ahead, Madison.
So, as we know, this is a mental health forum, and mental health can stem from other issues in society. So what can we as ambassadors and youth assembly members advocate for on your behalf across issues? So any issues, economics, mental health, suicide awareness, anything.
Okay, I see a hand here. You can go over to the mic.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Christophe Debron, and I come from CV Bethel. CVB! CVB! I ain't gonna lie, that made my head ring just now, but stay safe, guys. In the school setting, mostly for the males, the thing the administrators constantly keep chasing us around for is our hair. Now, I work in a lot of professional settings because my parents and my siblings alike give me opportunities such as that. And I know the professional standard of how you have to present yourself to others in a job setting. So, quote unquote, we are being trained to, how to act in a job setting in the workforce when we join. But the severity of which our hair is being treated is more like we're not being disciplined, we're being chained, we're being oppressed. Just because my hair is, they tell me to cut this even, I'm gonna cut it next week, of course, because I have to follow the rules. But even like my hair like this, they tell me to cut it and they keep you in the office, stop you from going to classes, your grades go down, so forth, so on, and they wonder what's going on. And honestly, I'm not saying like the rule is stupid. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the way of y'all treating it, the severity, is very unnecessary, and there's better ways to go about it. And also, young people, just full of creativity. Hair is a way to express. Our hair is an expression of young people, boys and girls alike. And to cut that off, to take away my uniqueness, because we all wearing a uniform. All of us look the same. To take all of our uniqueness away, that don't sound right. Thank you.
Very well said. So I 100% agree with you. Fun fact, I just graduated this year from Gemini. Yeah. So I actually got suspended for my hair one time. I had braids in, similar to this one, just a bit shorter without the curls. And I felt as though it was neat, it was professional. And you didn't have to handle me that way. I got suspended for 2 weeks. Pardon? Yep, 2 weeks. So, and that was like around BGCSE season as well. So like a lot of the classes I didn't attend and stuff like that, so. But I still passed 7 and I'm in grade 11, so, yep. So yes, I 100% agree with
Valedictorian.
Yeah, so top of the class, multiple classes, but it is what it is. So I 100% agree with you when you say hair. They're treating it like you're a criminal, and that's also what the senior administrators at the time said. That by me putting braids in my hair, I was breaking the rules, and that made me a criminal. Ha ha. But yes, so I know the Ministry of Education said that they were discussing it. I don't know why it has to be a discussion to begin with. It's just a simple yes. But we will definitely advocate for that. It's a personal advocacy of mine, so we will definitely put that on in the books.
And also, just to jump in from my perspective, so I'm a little bit older than Madison, so I've been out of school for a while. I used to teach in Spain for a while, and I realized that a lot of the little trivial things that we make a fuss about here in the Bahamas isn't an issue in other places. I worked at a public school, and let me tell you, these students, they came to school with crop tops, all of their bellies out, everybody had belly piercings, and that did not affect their learning in any way. Those were the most pleasant students that I've ever dealt with in a public school setting. I also worked in a private school, and the private school students, they were a little bit looser than the public school students. And so I think, first of all, it's a cultural thing. As it relates to what we believe discipline should look like here in the Bahamas. But in the grand scheme of things, once you step outside of the Bahamas, you realize a lot of those things do not matter. I do understand the need to teach discipline to students, but I understand the intent, but I think it also goes back to the method, right? So you can teach discipline in ways that do not, like you say, put people out of school during exam time, for example. And so it is noted, and we will get back to our Ambassador Corps and discuss that a little bit further, how we can stand up for you guys in those ways. We see a lot of hands in the back. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Allison Sanders. I came from H.O. Nash Junior High School.
Go Lions.
And one thing parents need to understand is that, and also schools too, is that wigs, it's just because we wear wigs doesn't mean we're womanish. We go to the club popping out all the time and stuff like that. It's just a wig. It's not like it's gonna come after you like it's a scary movie or something. It's not that serious. And also, parents need to learn to just take things a notch down. Stop comparing us to other people. Like sometimes we comparing us to people all the way over to South Korea, Asia, Europe, Africa, Australia, some other world I don't know about. Only Jesus knows how many countries inside this world. It's just a wig. And stop comparing us to other people we don't even know. Just because we in Africa, damn it, that's them, doesn't mean we weak or something like that. Hey, let me talk. They need to learn how to stop being like that. Just because we wear a wig doesn't mean that we're womanish and that we popping it out in the club with Magic Man and stuff like that.
Allison, right? That was personal. I see you feel that. We feel that. Before we take this next question, I want to thank our youth ambassadors. Let them know how they can get in contact with you to funnel any other concerns, and for the youth leaders so that you can coordinate visits.
Okay, perfect. So we do have 2 pages on Instagram that you guys can follow, NYAC242, so that's NYAC 242, and then also the National Youth Assembly page.
It's NY National Youth Assembly.
Yeah, NY National Youth Assembly as well. So you can follow us on Instagram. You can send us all of the questions. These are just 2 of the many youth ambassadors that you have out there. I think it's a cohort of 13 or 14. And then you also have youth senators and youth parliamentarians as well, too, that can put forth or advocate on your behalf when we do our parliamentary debates. Yes? Okay,
yes.
So a round of applause for Madison. Y'all can do better than that. And a round of applause for Madison. And a round of applause for myself. Thank you guys so much. Turning it back over to the moderators.
So listen, we have one more session that we have to get to. Dig around me. I gotta take this one question. Hold on. I had a question to the front here before that question to the back. Right here. You have the mic? Yeah.
Is it on?
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Andrea Nash, and I am from home of the Stingray, City Bethel.
Hey.
And what I want parents to understand is the topic of friendship, and saying that parents feel as though they know the friends we should have and who they believe should be our friends. Ooh. And my parents would agree with me on this when we've heard the saying all the time, if Sally jump off the bridge, you can do it too. And I feel so that is very mean, because just because I want to do something that my friends do doesn't mean I'm going to do everything that they do. And they feel, and a lot of times that same friend is the one who pulled us out of the trenches when we were drowning. And when our parents couldn't even help us, these are the same friends who helped us. And this is also very personal for me, because
I can hear that.
I have a friend who also do this, and this is my best friend, and they don't realize how important she is to me. And I have been told to cut her off, and I have still not done that, because I will not, because she has pulled me out of the trenches, literally. And I remember a certain time in grade 5, I was going to do something very stupid, and she pulled me out of it, and at an early age of primary school. So friendship means a lot to everybody, and you can't tell us who to have friends with, because you don't know the connections that we have.
I think y'all give her a round of applause. That was a very valid point. I think when it comes to adults, there's 2 things that happens in that space. Sometimes we project our own trauma or things that we think we see, habits that we think we recognize or have experienced, and we project that into that friendship, not knowing the child themselves. And also parents, sometimes y'all gotta trust y'all upbringing and rearing, you know. You telling her to cut off this friend when sometimes she may be the person that friend needs for change behavior. Sometimes the child that you raised is an exceptional human being. And they need to be that guiding force in another person's life. Sometimes y'all gotta trust your parenting, trust your intuition. And I understand as a parent too, we do see things. So kids, let me tell y'all this. Sometimes we see things y'all don't see. All right? Everything that we try to say or guide you through isn't always a projection. Sometimes it is. Sometimes that's our own triggers and our own biases making and funneling their way in without all of the information. But there are often times we see things your life experience hasn't allowed you to even see yet. You don't have the wisdom, the foresight, or any of that to understand and recognize the behavior that we see. All right? However, parents, conversations have to be had. You can't just walk up to a person and tell them cut off their lifeline. There's no conversation, there's no explanation, there's no teachable moment here. We have to come to some type of middle ground because our children, them friendships are very important as they learn to navigate life in the future. Now.
So the last class.
My name is Lynette Delancey and I represent the school H.O. Nash. And what parents need to understand is that these were the people who have siblings now. Don't compare us to our siblings just because they're either better than us or that we better than them, because we are two different human beings. Like, to be for real, like, you always putting the work on me, all the work for me, and then like hardly any work for the one who either older for us or younger than us. And it's like, it's not that fair, because really we going through things and we doing things with them, or like we doing things on the side of them, like for example sports, schoolwork. And if we older than our sibling, we have more work for us than for them.
Yeah.
Personally, just saying.
So I 1,001% agree with you, because comparison is the thief of joy. And so at the end of the day, no two children, no two people are alike. And I used to hate that very much growing up, when I would be compared to anybody else, whether it be in school or at home. So I completely understand that. So at the end of the day, teachers, parents, police officers, anybody in authority, please keep that in mind, that two children aren't the same, and you shouldn't compare them, whether it be good or bad or indifferent.
Absolutely. I want to personally thank Dr. Davina Knowles Robinson. Y'all give it up for her, make some noise for her. And I want to thank y'all for being in the room today. And I hope that even if it's one nugget of information you take out of here, is able to change your life in some way, give you some impact, whisper some words of wisdom. When it comes to safe spaces, you as the young people, sometimes y'all are y'all first safe space. All right? I know sometimes we want it to be the home, but many of you don't have that, and that's a harsh reality. But what you do have is you have each other. And you want to make sure you make the best of that. Make sure you show up for each other. Make sure you actively listen to each other. We listen and we don't what? We listen and we don't what? We listen and we don't what? Say thank you, Roxy.
So I just want to leave with one thing to keep in mind. And so I heard this recently, actually over the weekend, where a police officer in San Diego talked about how he had seen so many different suicides and he had seen so many different letters, and at some point you become numb to hearing the struggles and hearing the hurt and all those other things, that it's just like another one. And I know that in California they have thousands of people. But he said the one letter that stood out to him the most was someone that jumped off of the Golden State Bridge that said, if on my way, if one person told me good morning, I would not jump. So at the end of the day, we need to go back to community, being your brother's keeper, checking for those people that raised their fingers up and took those fingers down. Because at the end of the day, you can save the life. Because one life is too many.
Absolutely. Y'all have an amazing, amazing, amazing evening. I'm going to turn the mic back over to the moderator. We have one more session for those of y'all. I know some of y'all got to get back to school for pickup, but we do have one more session for those of you going to stay. It was an awesome opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity. And remember, if anybody tell y'all that they love y'all, baby, Roxy love y'all, baby. Y'all love me back? You sure? All right, then.